starting to record. Okay, so today we have a wonderful presentation by Cihi, going to talk about a very relevant and interesting topic on how to get score higher fast in TOEFL. So whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me turn on my video. Is that it? Can you see me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So, hello, I'm Guy Cihi of Lexica R&D in Tokyo. We make the WordEngine and the Words and Monsters vocabulary study applications. If you want to contact me, my email is in the chat. I'll put it in the chat. Or it's probably in the description on the Session ELL website. If you want your students to improve their English ability, their comprehension, and score higher on TOEFL or TOEIC, then use WordEngine. Today, my talk is about vocabulary and how to memorize lots of it very quickly. So I'm not going to show you much about the WordEngine today. It offers a free trial, so please try it yourself if you're interested. Just open your browser, search WordEngine. You can do it on your mobile phone or your laptop. WordEngine is for professional teachers in applications at schools. It's about $25 a year, or a little more than half that for half a year. Okay, that's enough about the app. So now I'm going to play a pre-recorded presentation to cover the material quickly. It's about 10 minutes, and then after that we'll have plenty of time for questions. So if you think of something during it you want to talk about, just put it in the chat and we'll come back to that later and get to it then. So now, without any further delay, let me share my screen. How do I do that? I got to open Zoom here. Where is Zoom? Oh, great. Are you still there?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. Oh, good. There it is. Why am I not able to see any controls for this meeting? It says I'm in room 1.
Do you see
there it is. Okay. Share screen. Great. Portion of screen. Share. Super. Today, I will highlight TOEFL data, but keep in mind everything I say applies equally to TOEIC and IELTS too. The only real difference is the total number of different words needed for each test. Our apps teach all of the vocabulary for TOEFL, TOEIC, IELTS, and many more special purposes. There are no other apps that come close. WordEngine is the undefeated champion of vocabulary study apps. The TOEFL vocabulary universe is 16,736 words, and every single TOEFL test is written with a subset of these 16,736 words. Each TOEFL test has about 4,000 of these words on it. Do your students need to learn all 16,736 words? No, of course not. To score higher fast, they need to learn as many as possible of the 4,000 TOEFL words that are going to be on their next test. How many do they need to know? 70%? 80%? 95%? 99%? And how can they learn their missing words quickly? And hey, I'm not talking about the vocabulary questions. I'm talking about all of the words that ever occur in all parts of the test, including the instructions. The most frequently occurring 4,954 TOEFL words, the purple slice, cover 95% of all words that ever occur on any TOEFL test. The next most frequent 2,547 words, the greenies, cover another 4%. Together, these 7,501 words provide a massive 99% coverage of all words that ever occur on any TOEFL test. What about the 9,235 TOEFL words in that big yellow section? They look important. No, they are not important. All of them put together account for less than 1% of the words on any TOEFL test. Let's look at this another way. Here are the same 16,736 TOEFL words in a scatter plot. Each dot represents one TOEFL word. Words to the left are highly frequent on TOEFL. Words to the right are on TOEFL, but they are not frequent. Words at the bottom are easy words that most people know, and words at the top are difficult words that only a few people know. These are the frequent purple and green words from the pie chart, the 99%. Words over on the right are the yellow words from the pie chart, the 1%. Okay, watch closely now, because here's where it really gets interesting. Words at the bottom are easy words that most people know. Look, there's a lot of easy words that are not frequent on TOEFL. And the words at the top are mostly unknown words. Second language learners can't learn these words through their regular study because these words aren't in any of the typical TOEFL study materials. Can you guess what this word is? It's farthest to the left, which means it occurs more often than any other word. If you guessed the, you're correct. Notice that it's not the most well-known word on TOEFL. My goodness, it looks like there are hundreds of words that are easier than the. You betcha. The is not an easy word. Let's do one more. This one is kind of difficult and kind of frequent. Any idea what word this one is? Of course not. How could you possibly know? This one is fill up, a phrasal verb. Interesting. Okay, so now we have a basic understanding of how TOEFL vocabulary can be statistically plotted for frequency and difficulty. Boom! See that horizontal line across the scatter plot? That is Amelia's ability level. Amelia is a first-year college student in Ecuador. Words below her ability are known to her. Words above her ability are unknown to her. That makes sense, right? Because they're above her ability. She hasn't learned them yet. What's this? Oh, a vertical line at 99% coverage. Words to the left are frequent on TOEFL. Amelia needs to know them. Words to the right are infrequent on TOEFL. They aren't going to help Amelia score higher. Wait, what's this? You already know these words. Studying them is a waste of time. Yeah, you can say that again. You already know these words, but they so seldom occur on TOEFL that you don't need them anyway. Got it. You don't know these words, but you don't need to learn them because they almost never appear on TOEFL. Oh, good. That'll save time. You do not know these words. You need to learn them because they appear often on TOEFL. Darn right. These are the words that Amelia needs the most. Only Lexica's patented science can identify these high-priority words for each individual student. These words are going to give Amelia a tremendous scoring advantage on TOEFL. Other students will study for many years and still not learn all these words. Amelia is going to learn all of them in a matter of weeks. Are you curious what kind of words they are? Nothing special, really. Script, Southern, fill up, garment, and 3,500 more like them. But which one of these unknown words should Amelia learn first? Script, right? Because that's the most frequently occurring TOEFL word she doesn't know. Brilliant. Only WordEngine can teach the most frequently occurring words that each learner is missing for TOEFL. In this case, Amelia needs to learn about 3,500 more words, which is actually about 4,200 different meanings. Because don't forget, high-frequency words are often polysemous, which means they have more than one meaning. But still, learning all 4,200 meanings is not a difficult task. Not with WordEngine. Of course, Amelia will want to repeat her new words at increasing time intervals to strengthen her memory retention. They call that spaced repetition. She definitely needs that. Instead of studying something repeatedly over an intense period, we space the rehearsals of new knowledge over increasing time intervals. Each next review comes a little later than the previous one. First 1 day later, then 3 days later, then 10 days later, etc. With WordEngine, the patented V-check test determines your vocabulary ability, so the app can skip over the words you already know perfectly well. And then the spaced repetition system is set up so that you spend more time on the words you have trouble remembering and less time on the words you pick up very quickly. The combination of the V-check ability test with spaced repetition makes WordEngine the fastest way humanly possible to permanently acquire new vocabulary. So whether you're training to improve your general English ability or preparing for a specific test such as TOEFL, TOEIC, IELTS, or others like them, WordEngine is super fast and highly effective. And all you need is your phone and 10 minutes of your daily routine, and you'll be getting much smarter in the fastest way possible. Check it out. Amelia started with 2,622 TOEFL words, but then she learned all of the remaining TOEFL words in just 6 weeks. She studied about an hour a day, but that's easy to do with WordEngine. More than a few universities have compared WordEngine homework to traditional homework. In every case, WordEngine resulted in significantly higher average test score increases. In this case study, 250 first-year Japanese college students took a TOEFL PBT test at the start of the year. Half of the students were assigned 1 hour a week with WordEngine for 30% of the grade. The other half, the control group, was assigned 1 hour a week with the school's traditional mix of reading practice tests and worksheets. After 6 months, all 250 took a second TOEFL PBT. The traditional homework group increased their TOEFL PBT scores by an average 20 points. For those unfamiliar with the TOEFL PBT, a 20-point PBT increase is a 7-point increase on the TOEFL IBT. The group studying TOEFL with WordEngine increased an average 47 points. That's 15 points up on the IBT, more than double the control group. Every similar comparison study has concluded the same thing. WordEngine always outperforms equal time on task with other methods, and WordEngine is always preferred by the students because they see the vocabulary they learned on their tests. Research shows that with WordEngine, scores on standard tests like TOEFL go up fast, and it's nice to have that kind of recognition. But always remember this, the reason scores go up on TOEFL, TOEIC, IELTS, EIKEN, and others isn't because WordEngine gives students a kind of secret strategy advantage. The reason test scores go up is because WordEngine helps students quickly increase their vocabulary comprehension. And increased vocabulary comprehension greatly improves not only test scores, but also general English comprehension and communication ability for all situations. WordEngine, the science of learning. Okay, thank you. I'm on now. So, let me see the chat. Are there any questions stacked up? Did that go? Are you
We don't have any questions yet.
okay? So if anyone has any, there, let me know, or if just speak up. It's just Kevin on here? Is there anyone else? It says 5 people.
There are 4 other people, in total 5 people, including myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are any of you WordEngine users? Have any of you used it before? No.
I've never used it before. I do have to teach IELTS quite often at the university that I'm working in.
Yep.
I'd like to try it.
Yeah, WordEngine, there, usually what happens, it's a slow process, sadly, is someone like you hears about it and says, gee, I'd like to try that. And they take it back to the school, and if they need to get approval, they get approval, and then they try it with their classes. And if they're doing pre and post testing, they get the results that you would expect based on what other people have experienced. And then maybe it goes 2 ways after that. The teacher leaves that school and takes WordEngine with it to a new school. Maybe they get a little higher position, and then at the new school, it starts to become used by more classes, because the whole curriculum committee will look at it, and because they're looking for something new, and you'll say, oh, I had good experience with this, and then they'll give you a shot. But the other course is that it just stays with the one teacher. They don't share it with anybody else. I'm not really sure the reasons for that. Maybe they lack the confidence to bring it up. and recommend it to the curriculum committee, or maybe I really don't know. But the ideal course is that eventually the whole school applies it. So right now, WordEngine is mostly being used by high schools and colleges, universities, technical schools, where the entire freshman class or the junior high school and the high school students are all using it. And it's each account is portable, right? So the student learns their words, and then in the next year, they just join a different teacher's group and they continue learning the words that they were working with. Now, some teachers, for whatever reason, I don't understand. Maybe they don't understand what's going on with WordEngine. They say, well, I want my students to start a new account. So to take VCheck again and start again. And that's fine. VCheck will, level them up to what they retained like over the summer, over the winter break, and then continue on. But honestly, it's usually better in terms of knowledge acquisition to just continue with the same account. But right? People have different ways of approaching things. And there are needs that I'm fully unaware of. Since I don't teach at a university, I just push WordEngine through to the many thousands of students who are using it.
Right. There are some comments in the chat.
Good. You've never heard of it? Oh, good. Wow, something great. That's because I have such a miserable advertising program. Basically, I don't advertise. I just come to these conferences and introduce it because I'm too busy making it and managing it, right? So we run these great tournaments called the Team Challenge tournaments, where classrooms of students compete against other classrooms. And I got involved with that because I was researching how to motivate students, how to give them higher motivation to do their assignment. And we were running tournaments where the students who did the most study would win, and they get a little prize, and it was fun, a certificate. But only the top people really got into it. Like the top 20 would be challenging each other. So we got many thousands of students around the world. I wasn't really happy with that result. So I was researching TGT cooperative learning, Robert Slavin, Johnson & Johnson, team challenge, team competition, team members helping motivate each other to do more, to learn more. And I started about 3 years ago, I ran the first team competition. And now we're about to conduct our 5th team competition where classrooms compete against each other. And we have classes all over the world. It's really fun. India, Pakistan, Ukraine, Greece, Ecuador, Venezuela, Peru, Japan. And it's interesting to watch how much of an effect the team competition has on people. So the next one's going to start up in November. I'm trying some new things in November, like we're going to have awards for each country's winners instead of like the global winners, because otherwise the Pakistanis and the Ecuadorians always win.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're really hungry for English there.
So this competition is only for people who are subscribed to the WordEngine site.
Actually, we make another app, which is a game called Words and Monsters. I'm presenting on that later today, I think at 2:30 maybe, or 2:15, something like that.
Okay.
And we run a tournament for those players as well.
Right.
But the Words and Monsters is more of like a do-it-yourself approach because it's a free game. So I don't have the capacity to provide the kind of 24/7 support for teachers and students like we do for WordEngine, which is that's why I call it a professional application for professional teachers and schools. So thanks to COVID, I don't know if you can say such a terrible thing, so thank you. I was encouraged to make WordEngine and the tournaments free in 2020 for students around the world who were suddenly locked out of their classrooms. And I thought that was a good idea. So I asked the customers, mostly in Japan and the United States, is it okay if we allow some people to play for free, even though you're paying? because of COVID, blah, 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 during this tournament. And they all said, yeah, sure, like a free trial. Oh, that makes sense. So I opened up the WordEngine tournament in 2020 to international participants, and I did make it free. Everybody got a free account for 2 months, and the tournament ran for like 6 weeks. So it was enough time for them to practice a week before the tournament starts and continue a week after the tournament ends. And the free teams from Ecuador and Pakistan, they just dominate. They dominated the competition. India was next, and then Japan was like 5th place. Even though Japan's been using WordEngine for more than 10 years, the teams here, there's a difference between having to study English and needing desperately to learn English. That's the situation in Japan, quite frankly, is compulsory education. Maybe 5% of the students really like it, or they're going to become an English teacher, and so they're really into it. But you got to drag the rest of the students to do more, right? So that was why we moved to the team competition. Who knows? Maybe I definitely want to have winners in Japan, though. So this next tournament, the top 3 in every country will get an award, and then there'll be the global award on top of that. So, but I don't think I'm going to run a free WordEngine tournament this November. It's like too much work for our team to run the 2 at the same time. I am going to run the Words and Monsters game tournament in November, and like I said, check that out at 2:30 if you're interested in that.
Right.
There will be another WordEngine tournament, and if you want hi Kevin, the subscriptions are like, what is it? 1,650 yen for Hantoshi for half year, and is it 2,500 yen ぐらい、2,600 yen ぐらい、 2,600 or 2,700 yen for a year, and 1,650 yen for a half year. So that's for WordEngine. But if you guys want to try it, and you can't get any budget for it, or you need to prove it to your curriculum committee and blah blah blah, I can set you up with a free trial for WordEngine if you're serious about it. But try it first, right? It comes with a free 7-day free trial. At least do the VCheck test and see how many words you know, and then maybe have some of your students do that. That part's all free. And then if you think you might be interested, and you can practice with the study apps and so on. If you think it's interesting, just contact me. Let me put my email in the chat.
So there is a question from Kevin also. He wanted to know how much the subscriptions are. I think you sort of covered that.
Yeah. So like I said, I think it's 1,650 yen for half a year. Cheap, right? And
yes,
then I think it's less. I know it's less than 3,000 yen. It's 2,800 yen, I think, for a year, or maybe 2,700 yen, something like that for a whole year. It's still cheap, very cheap. But that gets you 24/7 support and bilingual support for the students. So at least in Japan,
so
we don't do Urdu.
Sorry if you've covered it already. I just want to make it clear. So if people subscribe to this, are the teachers able to have like a teacher account and keep track of the progress of individual students, or is this an individual account for individual students?
No, of course they do. This is a professional service for teachers and schools. This isn't like self-study material. I mean, the self-study component is there for the students to use, but the essence of what we do is give teachers and schools a way to increase English proficiency. No excuses. It's not like, it's not like other apps where they can cheat or lie or fake their progress on it by borrowing the quiz questions, answers from other students. You have to do it. And if you do it, you're learning. There's no way to not learn with WordEngine. You can try, but it would take you 3 hours to do your homework if you just randomly guess, instead of 40 minutes to do your homework if you look at it. So the incentive is to do it. It's very powerful in a way. So yes, there's an LMS, Learning Management System. It's free. It's called vAdmin. And each teacher, honestly speaking, the best part about it is that it pushes the reports. Every Monday you get an email with all of your classes, or if you're the director of the program, all of your teachers' classes.
That's wonderful.
And you can just check that out. And you don't, I would say a good part of the teachers, honestly, they don't even look at the email reports because they're busy, right? So at the end of the semester, when they're doing grading, they'll pull up the email reports. But you can always open the LMS. It's got all kinds of bells and whistles. You can select time zones to look at, or time frame to look at progress. You can print quizzes to test their retention in a different context, not online, but on a piece of paper. You can, there are other things you can do with it. You can send messages to your teams through the InMail. It pops up on their screen, like, congratulations, we're number 3 in the tournament. Let's keep going. Stuff like that.
Okay. We have a question for you in the chat.
Okay, about the age. Yeah, that's a good question. I had the youngest students that have ever used WordEngine were 8 years old.
Wow.
We had a team of, it actually started in Brooklyn. There was a teacher who came to a conference I gave at, presentation I gave at TESOL in the US, and she was teaching immigrants, non-native, with very low English ability who would come into her school. That was her job. And she asked me if I thought WordEngine would work for that. And I said, I really ought to wait for Words and Monsters, but it wasn't ready then. So she's like, well, let me try WordEngine. I said, well, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll just give you the WordEngine because I don't know if it'll work for kids that young. They bombed it. I mean, they crushed it. They loved it. It was no problem for them because they're fearless. And they were learning English in English because I didn't have like a mix of translations for all their different source languages. They were from all kinds of countries in different native languages. So 8 years old is no problem. And then during the tournament, the first tournament in maybe April or May of 2020 that I mentioned earlier, there were 2 teams at a school in Japan that taught young children, as most private language schools do in Japan. And the students were 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, kind of mixed. One of them was the teacher's own daughter, and they did well. I think they placed 4th in that tournament. So it obviously works at that age. I don't recommend it for younger than 8. It's just not really, probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
As a parent and as a former Yoji Kyoiku expert, I mean, I created Disney's World of English. That was one of my big success story projects. I made that, right? It's sold more than $3 billion worth of it. It's a huge program. But I'm not so sure it's a good idea to be getting inside an infant's brain with a second language anymore. I used to think it was a good idea because it was making a lot of money and all like that. But I like to focus on second language acquisition after, say, age 6 now. And WordEngine, I know it works down to age 8. The game, I have seen it in the hand of a 5-year-old, like mom set it up and then the 5-year-old was playing the game. So I bet even a 5-year-old could do it. But again, I wouldn't recommend that kind of thing. They have this whole, young people are different though. They have different attitudes about smartphones, young parents. So if you're handing a smartphone to an infant or for me, a 3 or 4-year-old, right, then to give them something to do and you want it to be an educational game, that's your choice. No, I can't say not to do that. But Words and Monsters, I believe probably could go down to 6, but WordEngine is just like, it's too dry. It's just vocabulary. Like, honestly, if it's not graded, right? Again, professional software for schools. If it's not graded, you're going to get 15 or 20% of the students. At the end of the semester, 85% will have stopped using it because you don't care. You're not following them up. You're not asking them about their progress. You're not grading them. And so they just like sneak away. So, because it's work, it's not a game. Learning vocabulary is not easy. It's work, it's brain work, burning calories, right? So, Words and Monsters is like WordEngine. They work off the same core database and the same VCheck technology. And what that means is we've got 18,200 meanings in the database. That covers 99% of all English meanings ever spoken or written. it is the entire English language. Okay, and so because of the VCheck is identifying which of those meanings you already know and which ones you don't know, and then it's teaching you the most frequently occurring meanings you don't know because you haven't learned them yet. There is no age. It's going to adjust for your personal ability, for your personal word knowledge, and then teach you the words you don't know. The question about, well, at what age is a game suitable for a human being? The truth is that free mobile games, Candy Crush, Puzzle Dragons, Toon Blast, the average age of players in Japan is over 40. So the answer is they're perfectly suitable for adults, obviously, since mostly adults playing these games. Kids play them too, but it's less than 5% of the players. I mean, under 12 is less than 5% of the people who play mobile games. So does that answer your question? They're both aimed at anybody who wants to use it. The difference between it is the people who want to use WordEngine are teachers and school program directors who need to get better scores on tests. Somebody is looking. Parents, the dean, whatever. Words and Monsters is a game, so it's, in theory, it's intrinsically motivating. It's less like work and more like play. So you can keep playing and learning. And one of our, what would you call it? A catchphrase is, hey, over 50, keep your brain sharp. Words and Monsters. Because there's a couple of things I know from my experience in medical field. One is in gerontology, jack of all trades, right? Look at my LinkedIn page and you'll see. Number one, studying new vocabulary keeps your brain sharp after 40, actually after 30. And brain cognitive function is essential for a healthy life. The other thing is, any kind of hobby where you use your fingers and brain at the same time will keep you healthy after age 75. You'll remain continent longer. And incontinence is probably the worst indignity that human beings can suffer when you're elderly, because it really makes the healthcare workers not like you. So words and fingers. There's the secret for a healthy life. I mean, other than what you eat. Now I kind of got off subject there, but there it is. How much time is left?
We have about 12 minutes left.
I can open the LMS and show you what it looks like for WordEngine.
Yeah, that would be a good use of the time, I think.
All right. I'm going to share my screen again then. So just bear with me while I get that open and framed up. It's called vAdmin. Right. There it is. We'll log. So so it tells you all about vAdmin here. There's lots of how it works and explanation, but nobody ever reads these things. They just sign up, right? So you just sign up and make an account. But we'll log into someone's account who we know. It's not that one. Let's see how. Grant. Greg actually runs the program, but he only teaches one class.
Okay.
This one ended in April, so that's not a good one to look at. Let's not look at that one. Let's look at one that's active. Let's look at now these guys just started up. I think they started on Monday or Tuesday this week. for the fall semester. And this fellow is in charge of the whole program. So he has every group on his account. And then he shares email reports with the teachers as opposed to everybody having their own LMS. So he's like me, kind of OCP, obsessive compulsive perfect. He's going to do it all by himself. So we'll open up a group and we can see, okay, here was the start date. Okay, the 21st, and it's going to end on the 25th next year. There's the group code. That's how we connect students' accounts to this group. And he set a weekly goal of 420 correct responses. So we can change the goal, the weekly goal here. You can see 210 is the lowest, 420 is our recommended. And if you click here, it's going to tell you about the goal. 350 is about 40 minutes of study, so 350 a week is going to be 40 minutes a week. 420 is about an hour a week. It's very easy. A walk schedule. Include in the weekly email reports. Okay, so that means that this group is going to send out the weekly email reports, so you don't really need to log in to see it. Here's how I would send a message to the players in this group. So everybody in that group would get a short message from me. There's a game you can play in the classroom, although it's with COVID, and home study, it wasn't built for that. It was built for everybody to be in the same room and play. This is where you make the PDF quizzes. You can make definition questions, and they can be either English or English-Japanese. You can make word lists. And these are going to be the words that each individual student has recently learned. So it's just a list of what they're currently learning. You can select which spaced repetition box it comes out of and things like that. You can select which courses to see the words for. I'd say about 70% of our clients use the quizzes and they grade them. But we'll just look at the data that's available. We can see it for all courses, or we can narrow in on TOEFL data. I think they're doing TOEFL at this school, but we'll leave it on all courses just so we get everything. And then we can select a time frame. So we can look at it from VCheck. That'll be whenever the student started, or we can look at just last week, or we can look at just the current week. So this current week will be interesting. A week starts Monday at midnight on Monday, and it ends Sunday tonight at midnight. And so they're supposed to do 420 correct responses. So let's see how they're doing. What are they? Okay, so the average correct responses is 218 and a 63% correct response ratio. And the average time on task is 25 minutes. So they're definitely waiting till the last minute to do their homework. That's very common. There probably lots of them are logged in right now, right? So let's see when yeah. This is the last time they studied. And these are our students. So here's Yano Ibuki. And if I click this V, I can see the VCheck score was 2575. Probably a good freshman student at this school. This is a good school. And they've already increased by 385 words since they started.
That's amazing.
And you look at this student, again, about 26 or almost 2,700 words from VCheck and up 381. In just, 2 weeks? They started a couple of weeks ago. Right? So in this week, though, 568 correct responses, 423 correct, 421, 421. Hey, look at that, 421, 420, 420. You see that? They stopped as soon as they hit the goal. Now let's go down. These people, the 380s and the 200s, this one's thinking, these two are thinking, oh, I'll do it tonight, I'll do it tonight. So they're going to log on at about 10 p.m. These guys down here, they haven't figured out what's going on yet. Right? This one finished VCheck, at least, but has done minimal work. So obviously the teacher has to say, hey, Ren, you got to do this. I'm watching you. But if they don't do that, Ren will just keep slipping by, not doing it. And this one, Yuki-chan, she hasn't got a V mark on hers because she hasn't done enough to even complete the VCheck test yet, which only takes 12 minutes. So she got no time on task. right?
So the vocab size is the VCheck. The vocab size
Yes,
is from the VCheck.
correct. That's why it says VCheck score there.
Right.
Right? So if you, let's look at Jano's Jano-san's account on WordEngine, okay, and then you'll see what a VCheck test actually looks like.
Okay.
Let's get out of this teacher's account, the LMS, and what we're going to do is go to WordEngine. Where's WordEngine? Go to WordEngine. So we're going to log in using the secret backdoor recipe to resolve problems in this account. But she's already hit the goal, so she's probably okay. Yep, see, she got the goal for this week, and she's actually surpassed it. She didn't do anything today, so that's good. Now we can see where she's ranked. She's not ranked yet.
Okay.
You got to have 1,200 correct responses in the last 30 days to be a ranked player. But these are the people who are really into WordEngine. 16,974 correct responses in the last 30 days. We're talking about Bot Engine here is doing about an hour a day on WordEngine. And some people just really get into it. For
And
them,
this-
it's a game.
This top 10 is global,
Yeah.
not like for her class or for that person, the
No.
student's class. Ah,
No,
okay.
but there's a group rankings thing on the LMS for teachers. You can see which of your groups are top ranked, and you can see your top players in there. So you know who's ranked. You can.
Okay.
But let's go to her VCheck score page, and
Okay.
we'll see what she's able to see.
All right.
First at the top, that's the date she took VCheck, September 22nd, so a couple of weeks back, right? That was her VCheck score for all of general English. That's the 18,200 meanings. Hey, wait, guy, look, it's only 13,385 words. That's because these words are polysemous for the most part. The content and content are two different words. They're spelled the same. And so when you're counting words, we made it a compromise, and we used the orthographs to count them, but the meanings are separate. So if you learn a word that has multiple meanings, until you have learned all of the meanings, we don't credit you with knowing that word because we're counting orthographs, the written forms. But that's a very deep issue. Vocabulary
Okay.
extremely complicated. So we're looking at her score on TOEIC. This is showing her current correlated score. So she has increased 375 TOEIC. But look, she's increased 385 general English words, but only 374 TOEIC words. That's because some of the words she's studying in general English, they're not on TOEIC. TOEIC doesn't have all of general English words. TOEIC has TOEIC words. TOEFL has even fewer general English words, 350 out. 385 in general English. I think Graham has them doing general English. If they were doing TOEFL words only in their study, well, we can see what she's doing. Let's look at her My page. She's doing general English and TOEIC. And if we look here, click on the general English, you can see how much time she's put in on it.
Right. That's really detailed.
Actually, she's got 0 time on general English. She is studying TOEIC. So these guys are doing TOEIC. And Graham wants everybody to get higher scores. So she's got an hour and 50 minutes on TOEIc. That's where she, and 374 up. Okay. That's what it's at. Go back to her VCheck scores. But the vocabulary in TOEIc, yeah, it's in general English. And yeah, some of those TOEIC words, a lot of them are on TOEFL, not all of them. A lot of them are on IELTS, not all of them. A lot of them will contribute to a higher CEFR evaluation.
Guy,
So, yeah,
we have only 1 minute left, but we have a very, very good question from Kevin.
Yeah.
He's asking about discounts for groups joining the WordEngine.
those were the discounted prices. The retail prices are like, 60% higher. So yeah,
Okay.
good question though. If you have more than 100 students, then we knock off, I think, 100 yen. It goes from 1650 to 1550 for half a year. But, yeah.
Okay.
But if you try and do self-registration, then we charge you more because there are always errors and we have to do a lot more customer support. Like when the students make their own accounts and then try to send us, we have a template, send us your students, we set it all up for you, bada boom. And we used to charge more for that because it's like a service, right? But
Right.
then I realized, wait a minute, we're spending all this time supporting the people who did it themselves. We should charge them more. That's logical. And then give the people who give us the spreadsheet a discount because everything goes smoothly. No accounts get lost. No students have any excuses like my dog ate it or whatever they come up with to pretend they didn't do their homework.
Okay. So the session is about to end, but we also have one last question from Kevin. He wants to know about Japanese JLPT and if there are any similar apps or systems.
JLPT is interesting. They actually have a list of words, unlike TOEFL and TOEIC, which never publishes a list of words. So there are some apps that have the JLPT vocabulary at different levels, and I believe Anki is one of them that many English language teachers like. So ANKI, check that out.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if it has spaced repetition or not. It didn't used to. They may have added it since then.
I'm using it right now, and they do have quite a lot of flashcards, and they do they repeat the flashcards, but that's it.
Oh, okay, but do they come back over time on a schedule like that's 1 day later, 10 days later, like that kind of stuff? My understanding is it's very expensive to build that stuff, so I don't think it's just one guy.
No, I don't think it comes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
mostly just you decided. If you say this is a good word, I remember it or something, they don't show it anymore.
Oh gosh, yeah, the honor system. Forget about that.
It does now, Kevin says.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. But for cramming, like you're gonna take it's ideal for cramming. Don't expect to remember the words though, but it's good for cramming.
okay.
Mass
Well,
learning,
it's
mass learning. That's what they call cramming. That's the fancy word for it.
Well, I think it is time for us to finish this amazing session. So thank you so much, Guy. Please give a very, loud round of applause or with emojis or reactions. Yay. Thank you so much for your wonderful session. And I'm going to stop recording now. I think if you all have like some more questions, I think there might be like a room for social. If you can go in there, there's somebody in there, and then you can sort of like continue the conversation with Guy. But I believe that Guy also has another presentation
I
after
do.
lunch. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.